Lunatic. That's the word. That's the word that the president of the United States used against a senator from his own party today. It was during a lunch with Republicans on Capitol Hill, and it deteriorated into a shouting match. It was Senator Bill Cassidy who was the target of Trump's lunatic insult. And he's talked about the context. So he said he was talking to Trump about the war. He went on to say this. He said, quote, "You have not told the American people what's going on. It was supposed to last for 4 weeks. It's lasted 4 months." Cassidy goes on to say to reporters, he did not particularly care for my comments. And then Cassidy went on to describe how the temperature escalated from there.
The president didn't want to hear my question, interrupted me. I didn't care to be interrupted. I felt like I was trying to get answers for the American people. And I'm not going to be bullied when I'm trying to get answers for the American people.
President Trump then told Cassidy to sit down. Cassidy said that he wouldn't, which he referred to there. So that's when Trump called him a lunatic, according to our excellent reporting by Manu Raju. And then something really odd happened in the meeting. So Trump complained that the Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick missed yesterday's Iran war vote. Now, Politico is reporting that that complaint was there. And now Trump, of course, has said that missed vote is why the Senate voted down his war powers. OK, so fine. But there's something really odd about this. And what's odd about it is that McCormick missed that vote because he was with Trump. I mean, literally, he was with Trump. There they are at a Mack Trucks factory in Pennsylvania. So it's a little bit jarring to hear Trump complaining about McCormick for the failure of the bill and the rebuke from Republicans when Trump, to state something very basic, should have known and remembered where McCormick was. But after all of this, Trump put a positive spin on the whole lunch when he spoke to reporters.
I think we had a really great meeting, and we're very proud of the party. We like our leader. We like everybody really in the room. I don't like a few people, but that's okay. But for the most part, we have a really well-unified party.
Okay, it's not a unified party. Neither party's unified right now, but certainly not the Republican Party. And that whole episode behind closed doors with yelling and insults follows the public humiliation that Republicans suffered at the hands of Trump earlier today. Right, so there was this big humiliation, then there was the yelling lunch. So here's how that part went down. It was the first bipartisan housing affordability bill in decades. It was about to be signed on Capitol Hill. It was all pomp and circumstance. 12 noon, it was scheduled. They had it all set up, flags, podium, desk, all fancy, ready to go. 10:15, the speaker, right, is Republican, proud of this whole thing, holds a press conference to brag about the bill.
We're going to bring the American dream back within the grasp of hardworking American families. Critical to do. Great policy.
Okay, great policies helping hardworking Americans. Those are Republicans. Steve Scalise behind him. They're proud of this. Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, is proud of it. On Twitter, she calls the bill one of the most significant pieces of housing affordability legislation in American history. So everybody's excited. Then at 10:26, Trump drops a bomb. He says, quote, "Today's housing news conference and signing is hereby canceled until such time as we pass the desperately needed all caps Save America Act, which I consider to be a national emergency." So Republicans who had hoped to run on affordability, right? They put the word affordability that has resonated so much in primaries across the country in all of their talking points there, were just derailed by their own president for what? The Save America Act. So what is that? Well, it's a bill about voting. And that, of course, is Trump's prized topic, right? Rigged elections. The bill includes several things, one of which is a proof of citizenship requirement. That specific thing actually was struck down by a federal judge today who said it was illegal for Trump to implement this requirement through executive order. So now Trump only has one way to get his proof of citizenship through, and that is getting it through Congress. But the Senate, because of Trump's own party, again, his own party, this unified party, is saying no. Listen to Senator Lisa Murkowski.
My fear is that it would result in disenfranchising voters who have been voting for decades.
Senator Tom Tillis, also a Republican, said, quote, "We should not be completely upending how states already securely conduct their elections. Even if this issue is fixed, the Save America Act still will not have the 60 votes required to pass it." And Trump ally Senator Rick Scott, who is for the actual act, told Trump directly today that they just simply do not have the votes to pass it. He said, quote, "I'm a business guy. You have to live in reality." The reality is, though, that when it comes to this, the voting bill matters more to Trump than the housing bill championed by his own party, right? He canceled their big party. According to Punchbowl, Trump said in March behind closed doors, quote, "No one gives a blank about housing." Sounds a lot like this.
To what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
They were going to have a win.
Oh, it's like Lucy in the football with this guy. I mean, they literally, the Republicans have something positive to say. They did something for housing. You see young people out here voting all kind of ways people don't like. Part of it, these young people can't buy a house.
Yeah, I mean, so affordability, by the way, the single biggest aspect of it is housing.
That's it. And so you finally have one thing Republicans have done for America, and Trump just snatches it back for a very bad voting bill. Now, by the way, I'm for voter ID. People say you have to have an ID to buy a beer. That's true, but you don't have to have a passport to buy a beer. What Trump is trying to do to voting is not the normal stuff that 80% of Americans want. It's so extreme that other Republicans don't want this extreme burdensome thing on our voting rights. So for a bill Republicans don't want, he's taking away the things that everybody wants. You can't have nice things with Donald Trump as president.
I mean, Paul, Trump doesn't have the votes. Even if all the Republicans were on board, right, he still doesn't get to 60. Mm-hmm. But you heard Murkowski, you hear Tillis, you hear Vance. He doesn't even have them all. But he can't let this go for the sake of anything else, right? I mean, you can't even get the win and then deal with it later.
It's going to be an interesting summer. The UFC has ended, but the cage fighting is just getting started. And I think it's important to remember Trump's not good at legislation. It requires negotiation. It requires compromise. It requires getting along with people from the other side. And he doesn't like doing that. He's a snowplow. He likes to go full force, all gas, no brakes without stopping for anyone. And I think it's really important that he's focusing on the SAVE Act because he's focusing on the elections. He's always focusing on the elections because he has to protect his power. And he knows that free and fair elections this fall will mean accountability. It could mean impeachment. It could mean prison. He knows that that is America's circuit breaker. That's why he continues to prioritize it. It's not random. It is strategic. He doesn't care about housing. He said that before, even though most of America does. It is a win for the Republican Party if they can get it. Yeah. He cares about power. And the most important thing in protecting his power is the SAVE Act.
So, Charlie Dent, Senator Cassidy was also asked about Trump calling him a lunatic. And he didn't deny that it happened. But I think his response is really interesting because, a few years ago, Republicans wouldn't say anything like this in public. Here he is.
Can I imagine that the president called me things that would be said on a playground? Yeah, I can imagine that.
Charlie, what do you make of that? That he's willing to come out and basically say he acts like a child, right? That it's infantile, the behavior. That is something that we're seeing more and more of now, but you did not see a few years ago.
Well, I am sympathetic with Senator Cassidy's predicament here. I suffered the same fate in March of 2017, where the president told me I was going to destroy the Republican Party. It was going to be my fault. I'm going to blame you. You're being very selfish, Charlie. I've been through that. I know what this is all about. When you tell the president something he does not want to hear, he usually doesn't take it well. And I experienced that firsthand. That's what Senator Cassidy experienced. But, and I talked about it, and you're going to see more Republican senators and members talking about this because he's already infuriated John Cornyn. He's always after Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. Tom Tillis has been very outspoken. Cassidy. If I wanted to lose a midterm election, I would do the things the president is doing. I would steal defeat victory from the jaws of victory on this housing bill. I would obsess on a ballroom. I would obsess on a pond, a reflecting pond, and an arch. I would say I don't care about Americans' financial condition. I mean, it's as if he's trying to deliberately undermine his own party's electoral prospects. He was just in my hometown of Allentown yesterday, Macungie, Pennsylvania, up at the Mack truck plant, and he doesn't even mention the Republican gubernatorial candidate who's sitting right there, the state treasurer. Doesn't even call on the Republican congressman until the end to say something and say it fast. I mean, it's just incredible that he doesn't care about their electoral prospects. And then he complained that the guy he went there with, Senator McCormick, blew the vote yesterday by not being present.
But he was with Trump. Look, Trump likes to make money. I think he should send a bill to the DNC and just say, look, I'm giving such good service to Democrats with all these shenanigans. I'm going to charge you. And I think Democrats would pay Trump to keep doing what he's doing. It'd be an honest way for him to make money, better than all these crypto scams. It'd be a fair exchange of value. He is doing more good for the Democratic Party than we could pay him to do.